No one was more surprised than Alec when he had been tracked down as the sole surviving heir of a man he had never heard of, let alone met. Apparently, there had been some urgency on the part of the benefactor to find him before passing. Regrettably, that did not happen, and consequently, the executor of the will was left to relay a message that even he did not understand. Feed her. The conditions of his inheritance, though unusual, were more than acceptable, and he did not hesitate to move from his one-bedroom apartment to the country manor on blah, blah, blah acres of land. The foyer was the size of his previous residence and served as the starting place for a meandering tour of the home, which ended back on the main floor in a large yet cozy room he labeled the study. Though the home was fully furnished and brimming with art, the near life-size portrait of a young woman which hung in the room was the most alluring. She seemed to be waiting. Since walking through the entry door of the manor and his new life, Alec had felt like a child on the eve before his birthday. Part of his excitement was that his fiancée would soon be joining him, and he'd get to see her jaw drop. They had won at life. At the approach of midnight, he decided to make a serious effort to try and get some sleep. But as he was shutting off the lights, Alec heard a noise coming from the study. He cautiously headed to the room and found a woman standing near the doorway, apparently waiting. "Can I help you?" he asked. The question irritated her. "Seriously? You've got one job. Feed me." "Feed you? Who are you?" Alec asked. The woman pointed to the portrait on the wall. "I am the gatekeeper," she said. "What did you do to the painting?" Alec exclaimed. "Stepped out." "You vandalized it!" "You're coming into this cold, am I right? A long time ago, your family opened a gateway to hell." "Oops." "They made a deal with me to be the gatekeeper, so that hell does not break loose. Literally." "You expect me to believe you?" "I expect you to feed me, and I am not going back until you do. Leave, or I'm calling the cops." "Okay, I'll leave. You'll come around." It was a strange farewell. He felt guilty for sending her off into the night and what appeared to be an impending storm, but he reasoned that she must have some form of transportation somewhere. Alec went to the study to see if there was any other vandalism. When he entered the room, he noticed that the impenetrable blackness of the picture had lifted slightly, and within the murkiness, Alec thought he could see shadowy figures, but convinced himself that it was a trick of the light. He woke the next day still troubled by the strange encounter, but that was set aside when his fiancée, Janice, arrived. As he had predicted, she was ecstatic, and they spent the rest of the day touring, primarily indoors, as the strange storm that had begun building the prior evening had yet to break. The tour ended in the study, where Janice's attention was immediately drawn to the large picture. Alec realized that it had changed and taken on malevolent overtones. It was as if they were looking through a large window into a shadowy and terrifying world. Janice found the image unsettling and said as much, before suggesting they start planning their dinner. That night, after the two of them had gone to bed, Alec awoke to a bang that had come from the main floor, and upon investigation, found that the entry door had swung open. What he saw outside terrified him. The storm had become netherworldly. To his horror, flashes of lightning revealed an enormous squid-like creature, several stories high, walking on stilted limbs while its free tentacles flailed. Panic-stricken, Alec shut the door. "That right there is end-of-days stuff," the gatekeeper said from behind him. He spun around to face her. "What do you eat?" "People." "People?" Alec questioned in a restrained scream. "Officially sacrifices, but to be clear, people. We're in the middle of nowhere. Where do I find a person even if I wanted to?" "I think you know." "Janice, I can't murder my fiancée. Not to get into semantics, but you can. You're just not." "You're damn right I'm not. Take me instead." "Gallant, but your family line is not on the menu." The monster's distant bellow, partially masked by the thunder, prodded Alec. "I'd get arrested, then who'd feed you? There's no crime if there's no body. I promise, you kill her, and it will be like she was never here." "But she was here. She was dropped off." "I didn't say it would be easy for you. I'm not a fan of this option either. You are going to need an heir to continue with your family's obligation. Dating as a suspected murderer might be difficult going forward. You'd probably have to go the mail order route." "How often do you feed?" Alec asked. "Are you asking if there is some cycle to this?" The answer is no. I eat when I'm hungry. Am I just supposed to keep someone at the ready forever? You'll find there is a setup in the basement, a hidden stable of sorts. I can show you. Later. It was a sunny afternoon when Alec brought Malin into the study. "And this is my office," he said. Her eyes were immediately drawn to the large picture of a beautiful woman. Family? She teased. Friend of the family. His answer surprised Mei Lin. Will I get to meet her? Beware the easy road, dear viewer, for winning and losing can quickly merge. If you've enjoyed this Urban Legends episode, you might also enjoy other works by D.W. Richards.